And welcome back. Final session is creating in-camera effects with real-time workflows with David Morin from Epic Games. There's a new form of augmented reality in film and television production, and this session will cover advancements in in-camera visual effects and how this technique is changing the film and TV industry. And the session will also include a study on the use of the Unreal Engine in the making of the film. So join me. Welcome, David Morin from Epic Games.
Thank you very much for the introduction. My name is David Morin. I'm very happy to be here at Augmented World Expo 2020. As you can see on this slide, I have two titles. One is Industry Manager for Media and Entertainment at Epic Games, and the other is Executive Director at the Academy Software Foundation. Normally, I do a short introduction about the Academy Software Foundation, which is all about the work of software engineers and open source software. But this time around, and in the interest of time, I will jump straight into our main topic, which is augmented reality in film and television, with a special section on the Mandalorian. So I'll breeze through because time is short. This is our agenda for the presentation. First, a short history in film and television, talk about virtual production and this new way of making movies and TV shows called in-camera visual effects that was used on the Mandalorian. So without losing any time, going into Epic Games. So you probably know about Epic Games. Company was created in 1991 by Tim Sweeney, software engineer and video game developer, who's still our CEO today and our guiding light into the work that we're doing, developing technology to bring essentially immersion to an interactive technology to all kind of markets, not just video games. The Unreal Engine is the one technology base, the platform from Epic Games. It was released in 2001. It's real-time at the core because it was done for doing video games at first. The source code is on GitHub. 500 games were built with Unreal Engine already by third parties, companies, partners that are licensing the engine. And 45 games have been built in-house at Epic Games, including Fortnite. Just a few words about Fortnite, 250 million registered users on all gaming platforms. You can read all those stats. The main point here is that the same Unreal Engine 4 that is used to build Fortnite is the Unreal Engine 4 that is used on all other markets in VR, in XR, in architecture engineering, and in film and television. And that's the application I'm going to talk about now for the next few minutes. So augmented and virtual reality in film and television, where does that come from? How is it used? So to start with, it's important to understand that here you have some of our great filmmakers, the top directors in the industry that have been doing since a long time. These photos date from many years. They've been doing the best they could to preview their visual effects in real time before the visual effects are actually done. So Peter Jackson on The First Lord of the Ring, Jim Cameron on Avatar, Steven Spielberg on Tintin, Alfonso Cuarón on Gravity. They were all pioneers on the road to real time in film and TV using non-real time tools and trying to get them to visualize something ahead of time. Now, in March 2014, as we all know at this conference, Facebook acquired Oculus and started a whole new wave of development around VR. And so filmmakers took on to VR in various ways, and that's very important. I want to talk about one of those called a project called Carnegie Arena that was done by Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu with ILM X Lab. And that story is good story because it exemplifies what many filmmakers went through in their road to real-time VR and XR in general. So Alejandro Inarritu had made this movie called Babel in 2006. It included the gut-wrenching story of a Mexican nanny trying to get back to a better life in the United States with the two kids that she's responsible for and getting lost in the Arizona desert. You see the image here at the bottom of that poster, and that was a very, very gut-wrenching scene. And Alessandro Inarritu was not happy with just showing that scene to people sitting comfortably in seats in the movie theater. He really wanted people to be in the desert with the nanny and the kids and really feeling what they felt. So he created this piece, and there's a short video. I'm going to talk over it here, making of. This was full VR piece. He hired a group of people who had gone through this experience themselves going through the desert trying to get to a better life. He worked with ILMX Lab, scanned these people that he hired, motion captured them, and put the story together to be experienced in VR. The experience itself was shown in the museum in various locations in the United States. It was a great success. Here you see some elements of the presentation as it's being put together. And the way it worked is it was presented in a museum, and so you went in, removed your shoes, put the headset on, computer on your back, and you walked around in this scene, really going around as people were stopped by Border Patrol. And very, very important piece. It won an Oscar for this piece at that time, and we were very happy to be part of the project with ILMX Lab and to help them in doing this. Many other filmmakers did similar VR experience that were adjunct to their movies. There was Robert Zemeckis did the Walk VR. Jon Favreau did an experience called the Knowns and Government that he has going to this day. And many blockbuster movies had companion VR pieces. This all culminated to a point where filmmakers realized that they could use this tool in production, not just for side pieces, but also for production. And that led to an example like this one for John Wick 3.
I came on John Wick as a concept illustrator. I was providing 2D concept art to design the look and the feel of the film. And when we read about a 3-story building entirely made of glass, a number of problems come to mind. You have the reflections, you have the actual structural design of something like this, then you have the look to figure out lighting, etc. So I basically started with concept art using CAD designs from a set designer. I was able to bring them into Unreal Engine so that we could explore it in VR. It became this tool that allowed us to visualize what this set looked like and also helped us to create the lighting and the design of this thing months and months before any decisions had to be made on the physical set. It was such an abstract set that having this kind of spatial relationship and visualizing it from that point of view had tons of value. This set became a hub in the art department. The actors, the directors, the cinematographers went into the VR model so that they could basically visualize everything that was going to be built and seen in the film. I can't imagine them doing this set without VR. This set went through a number of different budgetary designs. I was able to create different set designs within VR, and now suddenly they can see what they can live with and what they can't live with at the hit of a button, and that allowed us to get the set approved sooner than we normally would. When you first walk onto the physical set, it's a surreal experience. It was amazingly accurate. VR has this kind of ability to cross the 2D concept art threshold and set design threshold and give you a real feeling of what it's going to be like to be there, which is just an incredible disruption in this industry. I also believe that the future is really bright for real time. Every single VFX artist that I know is asking about Unreal Engine, and the reason why is because there's the satisfaction of not hitting that render button, but just seeing it in real time. It's like heaven for a VFX artist.
And so there are many use cases of Unreal Engine in film and television. Virtual VR scouting is one of them, as we just saw, but there's virtual sets, previs, all the different types of previs, virtual production, in-camera visual effects, which we're going to go to. Today, there has been more than 100 film and TV projects using Unreal Engine since 2016 in all these different use cases. And now we're going to focus on in-camera visual effects. Epic has been investing in the development of many new features in Unreal Engine. for this new way of working called the in-camera visual effects. At SIGGRAPH last year in Los Angeles, we demonstrated many of those features. Here's a video summary.
Great, let's cut and reset.
No matter what the project is, the creatives always want to see the closest representation to the final product as early on in the creative process.
When I first walked onto set and the wall was up and we started to look through the camera, it really started to feel like I was just filming in this actual location.
We can track a camera's position in space in real time and render its perspective so that we can compellingly convince a camera that something else is happening in front of it that really isn't there.
The thing to keep in mind is that the 3D world that you see on the wall is also a 3D scene that you can manipulate in Unreal Engine. So this gives the filmmakers full flexibility to make any change they want to the scene live.
So it's really exciting to see that we can, use the real-time lighting to not only change the environments virtually, but also have it affect the on-set lighting as well. This opens up kind of like a virtual playground to shoot in.
With a VR Scout, you have your department heads collaboratively going into the world together. They're able to make decisions that inform the creative process down the road. It gets them more grounded into the scene that they're shooting, into the story they're trying to tell.
Because you can interactively change the world, it brings all of those departments together because each one of them has a role in how this world is portrayed at some point along in the production.
The director and the DP, they're back, and they're now able to work directly with the teams in real time. It's a really exciting creative process to be part of.
So here's, we're going to, normally we would go into more details. I'm going to go super fast in the interest of time. So here you see the video wall as it was set up at our partner Lux Machina for that demonstration. The curved wall in the back with flat wall on each side and an additional set of panels for a ceiling is the way this was made. This is the video wall that's in the back that brings this augmented reality feel to the cinema, the cinematographers and the people on set. This is the video wall seen up close. You can see that each tiles on the wall are 88 pixels across. And the wall itself is represented inside Unreal as the virtual version of it that you can move around. And so that to position your virtual set into any place of the world where you want to be. There is a feature called End Display altogether. This wall was 1232 pixel vertically and 6688 pixel horizontally. The effective render resolution cannot be rendered by one computer, so End Display helps us split it in parts. The wall itself, besides adding something for the camera to see when you shoot, is also a lighting instrument. That's an important part of this augmented reality scenario, that the wall is not only something that the director sees, but it also lights the scene and provides reflection, like in the tank here. There are features like the camera view frustum, which is rendered at a higher resolution, what the camera sees, similarly to foveated rendering in VR. Now there is this feature where you can render what the camera sees at a higher resolution. You see the ARRI camera final output here. There's a diagram of the computers. I'm going to go fast over that were involved in this setup. But essentially, you're in a multi-user sessions with different computers doing different things, but all of them sharing the same world. There's features like Live Link, Genlock to make sure the video is all synced between all the devices, multi-user editors, so you have multiple users going into the scene at the same time. And as we've seen on the video, we have the ability to do VR scouting. And now, differently than what we saw on the John Wick video, this time the VR scouting here is multi-user, so that you can have multiple people coming into the world within this new interface, picking up things, moving them around, all the while this being visible by the filmmakers who look inside the camera view, where you can have an avatar. You have an avatar of every one of the people in the scene showing up on the wall as they're working and changing things. You can see the avatar here as the camera shoots what's going on the wall. We have a library of assets, a company done by a company called Quixel that has become part of the Epic Games family. There's other features. I'm going to go fast on this. We have information on our uevirtualproduction.com website to do lighting, to change, to do an interface running on an iPad, to be able to control different aspects of the setup, to create lights from the wall so that you can see, you can have, use the wall again as a lighting instrument to do various things. You can, you have tools also to blend the real set with the wall itself so that the color is matched. So the equivalent of color correction, and now in what we call color correction regions, to be to move them around to be in the right location so that we can then change the slightly the rendering of what's on the wall. And we can also do green screen. You can turn any part of the wall, including the camera frustum, into green. So if you're not sure if your background is going to be final, you can use a good old-fashioned green screen as a backup. And here's an example of real-time compositing on set. The color aspects of this is very important in filmmaking, and so we have color scientists here, Rod Bogart, who is making sure that to get all the performance we can from the walls in terms of color science. There's time code and other issues of lag that we need to address, but in the interest of time, I want to go straight into the Mandalorian case study and then look at some of the ways this technology was used in real life. So there are a number of articles that came out recently. One of them was in the American Cinematographer magazine February issue called This is the Way. Highly recommend it. It's 12 pages of information that's chock full of all the do's and don'ts and learnings from that project. This is the way the Mandalorian set looked like. This was a video volume that was 21 feet tall and 75 feet in diameter. In this view, from the first episode, we see the motion capture cameras at the juncture between the video wall and the ceiling. They are capturing the real camera so that we have a very precise information about where the camera sits in space. Here we see the co-producer Greg Fraser working on the opening shot for episode 1 with Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian. Note again the motion capture cameras on the ceiling and the final view in the picture-in-picture. In this view here, you see another final, and the Mandalorian himself is walking toward what seems like an infinite landscape, but in fact, he's about 2 feet from the wall, about to collide with it in that shot to show you the level of the seamless realism that was achieved. Another shot from the first episode with the wall in the background. Here, various making of shots where it's, in some cases, it's easy to see where the wall ends and the set starts. But in some other cases, it's very hard to see. The blend has been done expertly. These are some of the final shots showing different time of day that you can achieve with the wall. You can always augment the wall lighting capabilities with real lighting that you can bring on set to add more highlights and do what cinematographers do. Here's a shot with the director Deborah Chow on episode 3, directing Werner Herzog character. And the whole environment, what looks like his office, is on the wall. This is an interesting one where you have this ship that's been built on the wall. The part of the ship that's been constructed is only the shiny part over here. All the rest of it is on the wall, so the top of the ship is on the ceiling, and the back of the engine here is on the back wall, as you can see. And when you move the camera, Unreal keeps everything in sync so that from the point of view of the camera, it looks like a set extension that is totally registered and in sync. That's the final shot in that case. There's also shots of people in cockpits, which are a trademark of these kind of walls when they're done using just video. But now the difference is that you can move the camera anywhere you want and the wall will react and the perspective will change. Here's Deborah Chow again on episode 7, working with Pedro Pascal and Carl Weathers at the time of the day, which is like magic hour, and the wall will hold magic hour for as long as necessary. As they have all their discussion, no need to shoot super fast as you would have in real life. Another shot here, more a visual effects shot where you see the actor representing the IG-11 droid that will be replaced later in post. Here's an image showing work on lighting around our hero and the star of the show, Baby Yoda. And this time on episode 4, here is Bryce Dallas Howard, the director, directing actor Gina Carino, with director of photography Baz Idwan at the camera. And here, the camera is focusing on that actor Bill Burr, and you can see clearly the juncture between the wall and the floor in this wide shot, but they were just shooting a close shot of the actor. And on that other muddy shot, Baby Yoda is in a precarious position. It's hard to see where the real set ends and the wall begins. I've been told by someone who was there on that particular set that the rigid, this ridge over here, it was built in real, for real, and the wall is here in the background. And finally, let's hear it from Jon Favreau himself about how this was done.
Part of what's been fun about collaborating on The Mandalorian with Lucasfilm and Disney is that we have been able to see through a few technical innovations and a few firsts that I think are going to have a lot of impact on the way television and movies are made moving forward. In partnership with ILM and Epic, we have put together a system whereby which we can have game engine, real-time render, and video wall technology coming together to create a backdrop for the big, beautiful world of Star Wars.
The volume is 21 feet tall, it's 75 feet in diameter, run by 7 machines, pumping the visuals onto the screen that's been created in pre-production and can be on the screen within 24 hours of being finaled.
It's incredibly impressive when you first walk out there because it completely surrounds your peripheral vision. And you really quickly forget that you're indoors and you're not out on some planet's surface. It feels like a real three-dimensional environment surrounding you because it is a three-dimensional environment.
You can allow your key creatives to all make decisions together so that the shots are captured entirely in camera, which allows for a better performance.
And what was so exciting about this is by bringing those people together, things started to click, and we started to realize, well, let's not just do green screen and interactive light. If we're going to design the whole set in game engine ahead of time, maybe we could have some in-camera effects.
Everything in the volume is designed to both light the actors and to be a background that we can directly photograph. So you end up with real-time final pixels in camera.
If you look at visual effects heavy films, you've got a film set and then it's going to go to post and it's going to get the world put in. Here we're considering all of that at the same time, and how do we create a background and foreground that live together on the volume harmoniously?
When we started to play with the idea of using Unreal Engine for virtual production, that's one of the things that Richard and John started to embrace, is that you've got this very dynamic world where you can have randomization of things and find the happy accident that gives you the perfect shot. Being able to see the actors point at things and see what they're looking at was pretty transformative. It gave everybody context, with the added benefit that if you want to move a mountain from there to there, you can do it instantly.
You could switch between the Iceland location to the desert location, all within the same day of shooting.
The ability to shoot a 10-hour dawn is extraordinary. To shoot any sequence where you say, oh, this world's not quite right, let's just move it a little bit. An extraordinary number of benefits and advantages for shooting in that environment. It's mind-blowing what that tool is.
What you see is really what you get. And that's something that really means a lot to filmmakers, especially those who have worked with a more traditional approach in the past.
Shots of character in a vehicle traveling through a complex environment. It's always very difficult to do believably on stage. LED screens are a wonderful solution to that problem, because what you're doing is you're taking this technique of image-based lighting that we've been using in computer graphics for years, and use it to light a subject.
And then we would do shoots where we would texture map real lit surfaces onto our game engine Geo, and so the camera could move anywhere. We would do interiors, like Werner Herzog's office. And then you started doing things like building sets into it, having half a spaceship with reflective surfaces. And so it became exciting because by the end of the season, it was like, let's start designing sets around what this could do well.
Just like the good old days.
With Star Wars, we're building on a rich legacy of innovation, and getting to partner with Jon Favreau to make his ambitious vision a reality, it's really a game changer for filmmaking.
And so this is the way I encourage you to go read about the projects in the press and CineFX and in all kinds of magazines. I want to call again the partners that were involved in making this happen: Industrial Light and Magic, Golem Creations, Stagecraft, Lux Machina, Fuse, Profile Studios. In general, our philosophy is your success is our success at Epic Games. The engine is seeing broad adoption in all kinds of industries using this a form or another of augmented or VR or interactive media. This was one of them. We have online learning courses. Please go see them at online learning, unrealengine.com online learning. There's more training coming up. We have a virtual production field guide. Go at uevirtualproduction.com, and thank you for attending this presentation. Hi there.
Hello, David. Thank you very much. That was obviously absolutely fascinating. I just want one quick question has come up. I mean, obviously, this has amazing applications for big features, high budget feature. Do you see it trickling down to sort of lower budget productions? How long does that take?
Absolutely. It's great to have a project like The Mandalorian that used the technology, but there's a number of filmmakers that have picked up on it, independent filmmakers. There's a Facebook group on virtual production led by Matt Workman, who's doing a lot of virtual production from his house right now in the context of COVID-19 and using all these technologies to actually do a lot of things that you cannot do right now because you can't go anywhere. And the virtual production concept there of bringing virtual sets into a wall, and it can be a big wall like Mandalorian, but it can also be a small TV and or a collection of small TVs that you use the same technology on with Unreal Engine, which is free to use, free to download for film and television. So you can put together a very low cost operation to take advantage of the exact same features as an independent filmmaker.
Yeah, I mean, when I was directing Mythbusters, we would have loved to have been able to use some of this technology to take us places that we couldn't go to or were too dangerous to go to. So, I mean, do you think it basically like television production? It will be able to be used for that?
Oh, it's changing. So there's a lot of things that are changing right now because not of technology, but because of the pandemic and other things. But the technology is there to enable people to do things. And as you've seen on The Mandalorian, there's at some point you see multiple artists that are all kind of logged into the world and they're changing it. They can change it on the fly if needed as the production is going. What's happening now is that in these workflows, the artists now remotely work together into the world. We have this multi-user capabilities that I talked about a little bit in the presentation, where in the case of a Mandalorian, all the machines, all the computers were all around the set, but nothing keeps you from putting them away, from logging in from afar, from having a sort of a group experience like you do in other parts on text documents and things like that. But now you can go in your virtual world as a group, and each one artist doing their job, be it lighting, be it constructing the set, moving things around, and then you still have, in this case, the filmmakers will still be on the set, but it can be a much reduced number of people in a much controlled environment. And as this industry here is looking at reopening, that's something that's looked at very closely as a way to be able to restart the operation without flying people around to faraway locations and in airplanes and all these kind of things that'll take us a little time to do. Well, you can do it all in a virtual way this way, with results that are pretty good.
Great. Well, thank you very much again for it was fascinating, and it's going to be amazing to see what's done with this technology. And thank you for rounding off our day on the media track. And we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.